Okay, so here's the greenhouse. It's kind of in a transition time mess right now because in addition to putting gravel on the outside of the barn, which is just behind us, I'm also bringing gravel in here for under the tables where we start seedlings and do microgreens. And it should alleviate a lot of the mud issues once again and keep things a little cleaner and really drier. It'll allow the water to drain off better instead of just standing on dirt. This is the area where I do my seedlings or seeding of flats. On this table there's the blue heat mat underneath there to keep them warm in the winter. And then this table is where we fill the trays with soil. You can see the soil bin there. And I have a box of seeds getting ready to go in trays probably on either tomorrow or the next day. We go on in here. Right now there's nothing in this space here because we just brought gravel in and I haven't brought my tables back into this space. And over on this side, again, everything's kind of a mess and in a jumble, but I have a rolling rack that I have some of my pea shoots on and a few seedlings that haven't gone out yet. And then there is micro basil, and at the far end there's some lupines I'm starting. And here's micro arugula and a mild micro mix, and you can tell perhaps if you look, some of it is struggling a little bit, and that has a lot to do with the heat. It is not a heat-loving crop. There's a mild mix, and those two get mixed together to make the blend that I have at market. And then here is another section of micro arugula, and you can see this really got damaged in the heat from a week ago. There won't be a lot that I'll be able to get off of that. And here is a little bit of micro cilantro, and that's not doing too bad, but not great. I need it to not be so hot in here. One of the things that I'm going to try is using greenhouse paint. It's a white paint that goes on the outside of the plastic and is supposed to give a very light shade, like a 30% shade, which should reduce, and the whiteness should reduce the heat in here quite a bit, or at least that's what I understand. Now along this wall, which faces north, I have a planting, I believe there's 8 of muscadine grapes. They're a grape native to southern United States, not hardy in this region, and so I'm going to experiment with them in the greenhouse. And they are setting some fruit. Let's see if we can see some here. Yes. Right up here. You can see a couple little tiny blossoms ready to open. And then right here, some fruit. Not a lot. These plants were only put in about 1.5 years ago. So, not a lot. I need to do some more pruning on them before they take over the world, or the world of the greenhouse. And then I have a row of cucumbers which are, I'm afraid, might be succumbing to spider mite. And since I'm growing organically, I can't spray. I've been hoping for beneficial insects to come in and deal with the situation, but that's not happening. So I'm getting ready to plant another tray of cucumbers to replace these. And I might do 2 trays and try some outside, just in case the insect pressure in here is just too much. And you can see here, this looks pretty awful, I think. With all this damage on them. Here you can see the webbing with the spider mites. It's not good. And you can see that. It's not a good thing. It's not good for the plants, and it's not happy. Over here I have one of my 2 rows of sun gold tomatoes, and they're looking pretty good, this row is, and that's as it should be. Underneath them this spring I had some lettuce. That's done now. That should come out. And then in the middle there are some tomato prunings that need to be cleaned up. Probably the day after tomorrow we'll be doing that. And then over here there's another row of sun golds. As you can see, they are dramatically different looking than that row. I underplanted these with kale this spring, thinking I would use up the ground space, and unbeknownst to me, kale and tomatoes don't play well together, and the kale pretty much killed off the first several plants here, I think about half a dozen of them, and seriously weakened the remainder. So I'm probably going to get about 2/3 of my normal crop of sun golds this year because of that little mistake. Against the south wall I have a row of figs that are also not hardy to this region, and it's another little experiment. These are Petite Violette de Bordeaux. Very tasty, very dark purple fig, and we've got some coming here. I got 1 or 2 this spring that were left from last fall, and now the real crop is coming, and that should be ripening in a few weeks, I think. Now, like the outside ones, I'm going to train these down to a low trellis, and then in the fall everything that's upright will come off, and the low trellis is what will stay, and that will produce the branches for next year's crop. And this is what the greenhouse looks from that way. I have 2 of these heaters. They run on propane and do a pretty good job. In the winter I keep this to just above freezing, and in the summer I have this big fan that pulls cooler air in from the barn. There's a tree at the outside of the barn there with that big door. It's a big sliding door, and that helps cool the air as it comes into the barn, and I bring that cooler air into the greenhouse with this fan. And then I have these 4 fans. There's 1, and then down there's 1, and they face away from me, and then there's 2 over here and they face towards me, and that circulates air. And then above us there's a roof vent, and that lets hot air out. If that wasn't open, it would within a day kill everything in here. Then at the other end I have a door that is also open all summer long. And that's a tour of the greenhouse. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting. I'll talk to you